Welcome to another Jackalmen Games podcast. We were created with laughter in mind, so join us while we giggle and grow together. Hello, this is your host Stoneka. We are finally breaking ground and releasing episode 1. I am so excited to get into this space and really create something special for our listeners. On this cast, I want to discuss one of the many mechanics from the game Argent Saga. Not only will this be an opportunity for me to become more familiar with the rules of the game, but also spread my understanding of them as well. Because Argent Saga is a new game, any player who has gotten to play it at or before Gen Con has a lot of work to do in the upcoming weeks. Things like explaining basic rules to players at their locals, getting their shop owners excited about the product, creating events, and even introducing new players. If this pod can become a solid recommendation for new players, I would feel like I accomplished something great. This week, since it's our maiden voyage into the Argent Saga podcast scene, I felt it fitting to cover the keyword of arrival. Every day, new players are joining the official Facebook group. At the time of writing these show notes, the page has more than 1,300 members. It's great to see where everyone is coming from in this group, both geographically and their gaming history. My teammates on Jackalmen Games all have a similar point with Star Wars Destiny, but before that, we came from all the other major TCGs of the past. During the course of this podcast, we will hear from 3 different players that are new to the game and close to my heart. You'll be able to hear their initial reactions to Argent Saga as well as their thoughts on the arrival game mechanic. Let's talk shop. If you're new to card games in general, let me do a fast overview of keywords. According to ARG's comprehensive rulebook that can be found with a quick Google search, there are numerous cards in the game that have keywords. Keywords are specific abilities that a card can do. Abilities only work while a card is on the field, unless the card specifically says otherwise. Some keywords will have reminder text explaining what the keyword does. That boils down to a really polite way to say, read the card. Arrive abilities happen when the card enters the field from any non-field zone, be it your hand, your opponent's hand, the discard pile, or the deck. This is a triggered ability that uses the queue. That last bit means your opponent has the opportunity to respond to that card's ability if they have the capacity or the desire to do so. It's short and sweet, really. Cards with arrive abilities that come from the intro decks and the first booster set Betrayal include Argent Archer, Booster Dragon, Corum Bladesman, Ariana Young Prodigy, Azure Seer, and Golem of Jealousy. If you would like to read these cards online instead of digging through your collection at home, you can always go to the card database located on ARG's official website and use their search bar to find the cards I mentioned. Certain arrive abilities come with prerequisites that must be fulfilled in order to achieve the effect. Golem of Jealousy will only allow her player to draw a card if there is another golem in their control, while Stormcaster of Azure Tower requires there to be a destroyed water tower to gain his arrive ability of sending 2 target units your opponent controls back to the bottom of their deck. Just be careful while you play and deck build. Make sure you can achieve those prerequisites so you can get the most value from your cards. For this episode, I wanted to talk about what the most popular card choices with the arrive ability in the competitive scene are. At this year's Gen Con, there was a 5K tournament, and every player in the top 8 had at least 1 copy of Cloudsea Greathawk in their main deck. Its arrive ability reads, if there is a destroyed air tower, you can exhaust a target unit and return another target unit to its owner's hand. This card can be played offensively to exhaust your opponent's readied Guardian units, as well as remove trouble units for a turn. Or you can use this bouncing ability to return units back to your hand to recast them later if they have already attacked you. Or take advantage of other units with arrive abilities like Golem of Avarice's discard. Or Sylphia Spirit of Airs, massive tempo swing, returning even or odd costed units back to the bottom of their deck. Speaking of Sylphia, she, as well as Garga the Keeper of Gales and Twilight Knight, were featured in 6 of the top 8 decks, locking them into a 3-way tie for second place. Silver Watchwoman takes third, being featured in 5 decks. An honorable mention goes to Professor Rudy, Magical Engineer, who when he's on the board allows you to double your unit's arrive abilities. He was in 4 decks. On an interesting note, units are not the only thing that can wield arrive abilities. Contained in some of the top 8 decks in the 5K tournament were 2 augments with an arrive ability. Those were Monarch Skydagger and Ariana's Amulet. There are 3 people that I would like you to hear from, one of which I married. They are my wife Telefear and my teammates Fortune Voyager and Headless Django. They're going to share what they do for the team, their initial thoughts of the game, and which arrive ability stood out to them.
I am Taryn Rockwell, and I'm Telefear online, or soon to be. What do? I'm your wife. I am the foundation that holds you silly boys up. What don't I do? What drew me into the game was my past experience with other card games, way back when Teledad Lightsworn Dark Armed Dragon was a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! In ancient times. That's when I began playing. So here I am today, learning more about Argent Saga from you. And I guess we'll move on to competing in tournaments and stuff, maybe playing a little more often. I did go to a locals. We were the only ones who went.
People were supposed to show up, but
everyone's entitled to their Sunday. It's fine. My favorite arrive ability in the game so far is Professor Rudy the Magical Engineer's ability. Your effects trigger twice. So it's just, I show up and oops, doing everything I wanted to do twice as hard. The Golem of Avarice is an obvious choice, but I mean, you get a lot of pluses from everywhere. I just like Field Golem number 2 is the Anus Dentata. I just love that card so much for some reason. I'm enjoying the game so far.
My name is Jeff Tyree. My online name is the Headless Django. I am a member of Jackalmen Games. I am primarily an article writer for the Star Wars Destiny content. You may expect some articles from me regarding more lifestyle or event reports from a more casual viewpoint than other content that we'll have. Some of my Jackal buddies were at Gen Con and started writing me back about this game called Argent Saga. So I fired up the YouTubes and immediately saw it as a variant of other games that always had something there that I didn't enjoy. And what this game seemed to do was condense everything I enjoyed about those games, but left out the things I didn't. So I wound up going to a Argent Saga open house event with somebody else who had been to Gen Con, and they had all the intro decks and sat down and was instantly hooked after my first game. Remember, I'm a more casual Argent Saga player, so right now my favorite arrive ability is Ariana, Young Prodigy. Any card that is going to be able to allow me to go into a deck and find a koala bear, I'm all about that. So that's my favorite arrive ability currently.
Yo, I'm right there with you on that one. Freaking searching the oh, he's so cute. Oh my god, I'm looking at him right now. Yeah, I love him. He's eating. Is he eating a cookie or something? No, he's eating a book. He's just eating a book.
Yes.
Aw.
He has a little scarf on.
And goggles and a little glove that matches Ariana's. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I am Fortune Voyager, also known as James, and I do a lot of background work. I do a lot of the video editing and scheduling, trying to keep everything on track while also getting articles out from time to time. I actually have a couple of Argent Saga articles in the works right now. I just put the finishing touches on an intro to Argent Saga, and I have another one trying to deal with the Sophia combo coming out soon as well. So Argent Saga drew me in basically with the support of my teammates Maul and Stonegood. Their excitement for the game helped me to kind of jump in. My current experience with Argent Saga is basically running some demos at my local store, trying to help get the scene started there, as well as helping get some intro content out, and we're helping to work on the Tabletop Simulator mod that our team put out for the game. So my favorite arrival ability comes from the Dragonic Destroyer. He's a 6-drop red, because red's my favorite so far. And his arrive is whenever he shows up, you get to sacrifice another dragon unit and then deal X to all the units that your opponent controls. So you get to drop this big old boy near the end of the game and just wipe your opponent's board so that you can try and get in some quick stabs with your juvenile dragons and finish the game off.
We also had 2 people on our Discord server pop into the Help Us podcast channel and tell us what their favorite rival ability is. Kat answered Twilight Knight, because not only is getting rid of a unit with Guardian extremely powerful, it also has the keywords Quickness and Destroyer. Its high attack of 3000 makes it shine the brightest among many of the Argent units in this game. And Random Scrub answered Rauyena the Phoenix because he is playing red at the current moment, and he loves to play this unit that deals 1500 to every unit your opponent controls. He says, quote, "When you have to kill every mother effer in the room, there are no substitutes." In conclusion, the arrivability is currently one of the biggest influences on deck building. The competitive meta is practically defined by it. It prompts exchange between players and propels a game. We are bound to see some exotic ones in the future. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you join our Discord server to get fast updates on what's going on with Jackalmen Games and communicate with us. If you do join, make sure you go to the Help Us podcast section to be featured in the next episode, just like Random Scrub and Kat were. You become a Patreon to show your support for what we bring to the community. Use our mod on Tabletop Simulator to play online with your friends, and spread the game to those you might not be able to get to in person. I hope you enjoyed episode 1. Hope to see you on episode 2, titled Don't Ruin This For Me.